north of Detroit. She said it was like an hour or two from Detroit. She said she was born in Texas, but she grew up in Detroit. And I was like, that's why you remind me of Nina. I was like, okay. She was nice. She was Hispanic. She had all tattoos. She was nice. And then I am the Grim Reaper. I come by and drop off the medical equipment for people when they're sick. But the crappy part of my job is I pick it up when they die too. So yeah, but there'll be times where like okay, so the other day I went to this dude's house just to pick up one item, and I show up and the guy's not in bed, and he's always in bed. I've been in his house like 3 times. He's always in bed, and I show up there, he's not in bed, and I'm like, what? And they were like, oh, can you take everything? He died this morning. And I'm like, this morning? They were like, yeah, he died this morning. Can you take everything? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, it's not like he's gonna use it.
You're done here, Valentine.
I didn't say that, but I was just like, yeah, sure, I can take it. And so I just took it. I just took everything. But they were like emotional and distraught and crying, and like you see a lot of stuff like that. People break down, and you know they need a hug, and so you give them a hug. Like I've had people break down on me, and like they weren't even like their relative wasn't even dead yet, and I was like, all right, I was like, it's okay, like it'll be all right, like you know, there's a hope for the future, and you know, give them a hug, and you know, just kind of like pat them on the back a little bit, try to be like encouraging, and then you know you got to leave. So it's just yeah, but you know, then you have other times where you show up at a spot and nobody's there, and they're like, oh, just leave it in their room because it's a facility. Nobody's there, just leave it in their room, no big deal. They're on the way. I've had it to where like I showed up at a spot, guy was breathing, and I was like, man, I think this guy's gonna die. They're like, oh well, we need his equipment, and I was like, all right. And then I talked to the family for like an hour and 30, like an hour, maybe 30 minutes, and then I left. And then 2 hours later, they were like, hey, can you come back? He just died. That was the same day, and I was just there. I was like, oh man. So you're kind of like people are happy to see you when you got the stuff, and you're like a guardian angel. They're like, oh, it's a godsend that you came at 3 o'clock at night, or you know, whatever time I have to show up. They're like, oh, we needed you here so bad, thank you. And it's like, yeah, no big deal. But when you come to pick up everything, you're like the Grim Reaper, just picking up the leftovers, and they're like, you know, but you have to come do it because not only is it your job, but like the grieving process for them can't really start until everything's gone, so that they can legitimately move on, you know. So there's that part of the job, which is you know, it's nice. It's nice because then people are like, oh, you know, but people will tip you for doing your, you know, and it's like, oh, that's cool too, like no big. And then let's see what else. But yeah, I deliver medical equipment, I deliver the bed, but people always ask me when I show up with a bunch of equipment, they're like, it's just you? And I go, yeah, it's just me. And I think it's kind of weird, but then I realized, I was like, oh, you know, with every other moving job or furniture job or anything like that, there's always 2 people. There's always 2 people. You know, maybe even 3. So when they were like, it's just you, I was like, yeah, it's just me, and I think it's kind of funny. So they're like, well, do you need any help? Like people come out and help you and stuff like that. One house, the bed that I was setting up, it was messed up. Somebody didn't fix it right or whatever. And I was like, oh well, the only other bed I have is like this other person's bed, and like they like just passed away on it, and they were like, that's fine, we'll take it. And I was like, okay. I was like, but I gotta wipe it off. And then like I brought it in, started wiping it down. Or no, I brought it in and set it up, and I went back out to get something, and this other lady just started wiping the bed down. And I was like, oh. And I was like, this isn't even her grandfather that needs this. You know, but I don't know what happened with them. One dude, I stayed out with one dude till like 10 o'clock at night, talking to him about the equipment. Not 10 o'clock, it was later than that. Because I went to his house at 10, and he stayed like an hour away. And I went to his house, and I stayed out there with him for like an hour talking to him about the equipment because it was his brother he was like, oh, my brother's like, he's going down for the count, and we hope that he'll get better, but it doesn't seem like it. And so, but he was like really distraught. Owned his own business. Tipped me $50. You know, I mean, they had their money had money. I was like, wow. So, but they were cool. They were nice. Dude, and then like, but you know, you see like a lot of big houses. That's for sure. Lots of big houses. You know, a lot of people with like mad money, stuff like that.
I just realized something. Dustin's not even here.
And then my least favorite is the angry old lady. Like, there are some angry old women out there, and they will never be happy. Like, I showed up, I had the equipment, I set it all up, it's running perfectly, and she was like, "It's too loud. Oh, is there anything you could do about that? It's so loud. Oh, I can't use this. It's too loud." And I was like, "Man, all the machines are like that. It's a motor. Like, it's gonna move. Like I can't do anything." She was like, "Oh." And then she was like, well, is it working?" And I was like, "Yeah, it works just fine." And I showed her how to use it. And she was like, "Well, I don't need it for my throat. I just need it for my teeth." And then she used it, and then she was like, "Oh, all right. Well, just get that other one out of here." And I was like, "Yeah, you're welcome." And the lady who was there with her, she was like, "I'm quitting in a week." And I was like, "Really?" She was like, "I'm going back to my old job. I'm going back to marketing. I can't do this." And I was like, "Okay." And the lady came back and like she like yelled some other stuff, and I was like, "Lovely woman, beautiful woman." Like, you know, and she just laughed. But yeah, that woman was harsh, evil old lady. And then
that's what a lot of women that are past their prime act.
And then let's see. Oh, stairs.
Completely
Stairs are like
whatever.
the enemy. I mean, it can be true, but I've met a lot of really nice old ladies in my time.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just talking about like the ones that grew up with the spoon in their mouths. The second they get old, they act just ridiculous.
That is pretty true.
I mean, I've met those women. I absolutely just can't stand them.
And then who else? Yeah, stairs are the true enemy. Nurses that don't want to help you, that is like a real enemy there also. Because, you know, some of them seem nice, but they really just don't want to be bothered with you. They're like, "Oh God, like you're here, like why can't you leave? Like you're making me do more stuff."
Well, it's their job, you know.
It is their job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that they want to do it though. Yeah. It's like even these nurses can be like they can be like real jaded, you know, from their job. Oh.
I can't leave until I've rescued the other victims.
Hey, up here.
Maybe, but don't push the maybe, baby. So yeah, and then I've been in some spot. I was in this one spot, and I thought the dog was gonna eat me, man. Like I knocked on the door, and he like, "Rah! Rah!" I was like, "Oh man, like this dog is gonna eat me."
She's gonna eat me.
Yeah. Or you go in there to pick up medical equipment, and they have cats, and the medical equipment's just full of cat hair. Oh, it's disgusting. And they like the smell of like 10 cats is always like putrid. And you're like, "Oh man, these people have cats. Oh, nasty." Or but some people feed you. Like I've been to houses and like, you know, this girl will come out and I'll be like working, and she's like, "Do you want a plate of food?" And I'll be like, "Oh, yeah, sure." She's like, "I'm gonna go make you some food." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, like that's cool." And I'll come back and she'll have like, you know, plate on paper plate, you know, food on paper plate. They're normally Hispanic girls that do that. They like come through and they like hook you up real nice. You're like, "Man, that's dope."
Thank God you got
Like
here.
I'm not your man and I'm not available, but thank you.
You're safe now. Stay here with the others. I'll send a squad car.
Nah,
to pick you
man,
up.
nah.
Thanks.
Not when it's good. Not when it's good, man. When it's good, maybe just like 5-10 minutes. Because when it's homemade and it's good, you might be on the toilet like 10 minutes because it's just gonna flush out the booty. Like Ann is cooking. Ann is cooking, man. You be on the toilet like 10 minutes. Cause you get down and all of a sudden it just goes shoot, and you're like, woo! I didn't expect that. We knew out real good. But she also like put a lot of jalapenos and spices and stuff like that in her food, and so when she put all them spices, your stomach will go woo, woo, woo.
I'm taking you where you won't be able to hurt anyone else. I'll make sure.
Got to be careful. You might hit that explosive diarrhea. Explosive.
Those people are living a fate worse than death.
Yeah.
Pig makes life.
I remember, man, I had to tell him to stop putting so many jalapenos in the food because I couldn't eat it, man. It was like I would go to bed at night and I would get like heartburn. And then on top of that, like I was like, look, it's going down hot and it's coming out hot.
Those things you couldn't change. It's how I identified the bodies. It's how I caught
Butt cheeks got blisters from the heat. Got heat blisters in the cheeks. No bueno. Let's see.
Put that one.
But that's what I'm doing for work now. I deliver oxygen concentrators. I deliver O2 tanks. I deliver, which, man, like, that's the thing is, you see people smoking while they're on oxygen, and it's like, you know you can blow yourself up, right? Like, you know that. And they be smoking a cigarette or light it up, and they put the oxygen on, they hit the oxygen, and I'm like, bro, you are dying. You are dying. Like, this old black lady, roll to this old black lady's house, right? And they say she is on 18 liters of oxygen. Once you are over 5, well, no. Once you're over 10 liters of oxygen, you're going down for the count. You're going down for the count. It's guaranteed. Like, you're going to die. This lady's on 20 liters of oxygen. And when she was at the hospital, she was on 70. Meaning her oxygen was so low, she had to have 70 liters of oxygen pumping to her with a mask on. So they got her down to 30, left the hospital at 30, brought her home so she could be on 20, and she was still smoking a cigarette while on her oxygen. I was like, are you serious? Like, is this woman serious? And they're like, oh, well, you know, the family's on the way to come see her because she's probably going to die. I was like, she's going to die. It's not probably. She's going to die. She's old. She's still hitting them cigarettes. She's on like 15 to 20 liters of oxygen.
She ain't taking care of herself.
Man, she didn't care no more. She was trying to sell me off to one of her granddaughters. You know what I'm saying? She was like, honey, you look like, she was like, can you take off your mask? And I was like,
there's a reason we didn't know who it was.
And I took off, and like I heard like the not her, it was her daughter and her daughter's husband who was like, Mama, stop. Mama, stop. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, you good looking, baby. And I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. She was like, you know, my granddaughter's here. You know, they in college and they done graduated. And I was like, you know, I got 2 daughters and I got 2 sons and a wife. You know, I don't think they'd be interested in me. You know, but she was trying to pawn them off on me like real quick and real smooth. And I was like, man. I was like, no, you old chimney.
Chimney.
Man, but yeah, but she was nice though. But yeah, that just amazed me. Like, people like smoking and taking in their oxygen. And actually, somebody caught on fire a few weeks ago. We had a customer who dropped their cigarette and their oxygen lit up on fire, and they got caught on fire. So like, stuff
Were you
like
there?
that happens. No, I wasn't there.
Oh, man.
If I was there, I'd have been like, oh snap, you gotta put this dude out. But let's see, what else? What happened? What had happened? Let's see. So I delivered that. I delivered the overbed tables. I delivered the hospital bed. We delivered the nebulizer. I delivered